You know, there's one thing about living in our part of the country, in Northwest Ohio. We really don't ever experience the desert. So it's hard for us this weekend, after hearing Jesus in the desert for 40 days, to really know what that's like physically. If you're like me, you have other kinds of deserts. Perhaps it's an emotional desert. Perhaps it's even a physical desert at times. The greatest desert that we all can have is a spiritual desert. A spiritual desert when we have such difficulty trying to find God in our lives. Not because He's not there, it's because we just simply can't find Him. Probably because we're living in one of those other deserts as well. The gospel story this week tells the story of Jesus in the desert. What do we learn from His days in the desert? He needed to know where He was going and what He needed to do for His Father. So the desert helped Him strip away everything else in His life that wasn't important. That is the invitation of Lent this year for us. To strip away what is not important, those things that we do not need, those things that get in our way of not having God as number one in our lives. So we fast, not just fast from food, but we fast from everything that does not lead us to God. We also pray intently during this season so that we can stay connected to God in our lives. When we pray, we need to listen twice as much as we talk. Practice that during these days of Lent. And thirdly, the traditional practice of our church is to share what we have with others, almsgiving. Think about that, though, in ways that's just not sharing things with others, but perhaps the greatest gifts we have is our very life, the gifts and talents that God has placed in us. Share those with others. We've got to be focused. We've got to be prepared to meet the risen Christ, because it is the risen Christ that gives us life. It is the risen Christ who invites us from this world to the next into a life that will never end. Make a Lenten plan this week. Include in it special prayer time and opportunities. Include in it sharing your gifts and talents, almsgiving, and give up what is not important in your relationship with God. This week, remember to get real, very real, the real presence of Christ. He's waiting for you on the altar in your church.